What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. When it comes to the conversation about PC parts, there are a lot of people who have a lot of misconceptions to share, and they do it with impunity, like they know what they're talking about. And in the end, what I think they do is they misinform people more than anything else. I saw this post on Twitter. This person says, a friendly reminder, a $500 gaming PC would not outperform a $1,500 gaming PC. Sorry, a $500 gaming console. Also, a $500 PS5 is greater than $500 gaming PC. PC is the better choice if you have money, and if you have more, owning them both is much better. Comparison between them is pointless and a brain dead thing. This is a lie of a comment. Let me run the numbers for you. You own your PlayStation 5 for $500. That's how much I paid for mine in 2020. I drove to another state to go buy it. Keep in mind, I was already a PC gamer from when I moved from the PS4, but because I am a PlayStation fan, believe it or not, but I just know how to critique the thing that I like. And some have said, "Oh, you hate console gamers." Why would I waste time hating on anybody? Like, there's no point to that. I just like when I have facts to drop, I drop them, and when I see misconceptions, I basically kick very hard against them. So maybe it's the tone you don't like, but hey, truth is truth, evidence is evidence, and the cheeky saying facts and your feelings, they're not compatible. So $500, and then you run that PlayStation 5 for 5 years. Maybe you pay $80 a month for your PlayStation Plus, add $400 to that. For 5 years, you've been paying PlayStation Plus. I've been paying PlayStation Plus even when I was a PC gamer, because most of my friends that play some games are on the PlayStation platform. So I've paid PS Plus from the PS4 days all the way through now. I think I got my PS4 in 2015. So put that together, that's $900. That's just your PS4 Plus and your base console. We don't talk about your extra controller. Maybe let's just say you still keep one controller, but I got a second controller, so screw it. I bought it right there in the spots, the extra controller, $960. And then let's go ahead and look at the average cost of games per, platform. On PC, the average cost of games ranges anywhere from $10 to sometimes $15 more, on console compared to PC. So, like, if you look at Dragon's Dogma 2 right now, if we go to CD Keys and we look at Dragon Dogma 2, the price is $10 less than it is on PlayStation. So where is it? Where are you at? So $58 for the standard edition, and then for the deluxe, $70. On PC, it is on PlayStation. Sorry, it's $80 and $70 respectively. So these are the mathematical considerations. So with the extra $10, let's say you buy 2 to 3 PlayStation games brand new every year. On average, you're paying $30 more. Multiply that by the 5 years, that's $150 extra dollars. So you are now at $1,100 or $1,110. And somebody is saying to me that a $500 gaming PC is more than a console. The wrong assumption is that this person is assuming that you're only spending $500 on the PS5 and you're only going to spend $500 on the gaming PC, when in reality, the associated costs, which has nothing to do with even the games that you're buying. If we do an apples to apples comparison, we just did one with the price of Dragon's Dogma. I can go to the PlayStation website just to make sure that we have everything in place. So let me see. That way you guys can see Dragon's Dogma 2 PlayStation. Okay, let's go to the PlayStation website so that we can make sure that those comparisons are proper. So this is the basic edition for $70 and $80 respectively. Whereas, like I said, it's $70 deluxe and $60, $58, there's even change here, respectively, right? So this is already a false assumption, and we must make sure that we redefine what is going on. Now, if we wanted to actually say the fair cost of an $1,100 PC, many people might not have that right off the bat. That's understandable. I get it. I would argue that maybe they need to wait, save a little bit, and then they can get a PC that will pretty much obliterate everything the next PS5 Pro can even do and just be fine and not need to touch upgrades for a while. But I'll be fair and say let's go in the middle ground. So somewhere around $650 to $800, of which I'm going to give myself on the low end a $650 challenge, just to show those who want to come into PC gaming that, it's very viable. And rather than just jump on the PS5 Pro, maybe consider a PC as your next upgrade path. So I'm trying to build me a living room PC. It's one that I can just sit down and just chill. From time to time, I'll have one when I'm really like condensed in work Many of you know I'm working on my own video game, and it's been really stressful the last few days. But I moved my old living room PC into the bedroom so I could work in quiet because the kids start running around and yelling. And that's the PC that I'm working on this video right now with you guys. So I went ahead and bought me my trusted friend, the Ryzen 5 5500. It was $89.99, including the tax. Some of you know, and many don't know these things. Well, let's jump in. I'm a school teacher. I love to just talk about things, and I feel like I can spread, some really cool information. B&H has a program where if you sign up for one of their cards, it's kind of a credit line. Make sure you have your money and pay off your credit. Don't go borrow money, and buy things that you don't have, but you have the benefit of buying these items without paying any taxes on them. They'll refund the tax back to you. So $89.99 is $89.99. That's literally what I paid for this CPU. Under $90 for a CPU that is in this computer I'm using that can run Unreal Engine. Let me show you my Unreal Engine library with the projects that I'm working on, including a glimpse at risk of my game. Now I've moved it away from there, right? These are all my projects in the Unreal Engine library. I can fire up an Unreal Engine project for you guys here if you want. But no, I'm not going to fire anyone up because it's all my game stuff that I'm working on. But it does the job, right? For $90, your PlayStation 5 will explode if it had to compile those shaders, or your Xbox Series X will fume to the skies. Now, in regard to GPU, you'll say that's probably the most expensive one. But yes, the 6800 is one that I was kind of tossing around with because I was like, well, I like to future-proof. This card can get me 1440, but what I'm probably looking for is a 1080 high frame rate and some 1440 with high textures, being able to play at ultra settings and still be able to get good frame rates. Something that a PlayStation 5 cannot do. Developers have to use resolution scaling, checkerboarding, which are tactics that will give you a higher resolution and still give you frame rates, but usually they'll give you mid-range quality and stuff. Nothing wrong with that. Just saying, in the PC world, we can obliterate it for that $650 price point. And so I decided, okay, maybe I should cancel these two. I couldn't make up my mind. It happens because, again, I'm trying to basically just help educate people who are looking into this. I decided, let me go on Newegg a little bit. The 3060 12 gigs, which has actually got enough VRAM, is $289 right now. You can buy one for $279, which is the Zotac brand. Nothing wrong with Zotac brand. I mean, it's fine. And they still have 12 gigs of VRAM, which will give you enough VRAM to play games like Hogwarts Legacy and so on and so forth. If you're looking to maybe figure out, okay, which GPU should I buy? How is it going to perform in the games I want to play? You could just say 3060, 12 gig, Hogwarts Legacy. You could easily Google that and somebody would have a video where they will play the game extensively for you and they'll show you pretty much all it is that you need to, pretty much visualize about the performance of the game at that, whatever. They'll even tell you whatever CPU they're using. Most of them will tell you so that you can know. And then you can come in, and this gentleman here, Z-Worms, shout out to you, my guy. This guy sits there and he will do GPU comparisons all day. The game is running beautifully on a 3060 and it's giving you 64 FPS. He tested at 1440p medium, giving you some really decent gameplay. If that's the game you want to play, you look for it that way. That's how you do it. You basically target the games you're trying to play and see what the performance is going to look like. Back to the money. Now, as for a motherboard, because what I like to do is when I buy a CPU, I want to buy a motherboard and keep in hand. This motherboard is $100 and, it's a mini ITX board. You could buy a micro ATX board for less, about $80, $89. I bought the mini ITX because the build I'm trying to put together is a living room build, so I want it to be much smaller in a sense. So that's what I'm targeting, and I'm going to be putting it in a mini ITX case, which is going to be something like this. I mean, for budget builds, you want to go with the $50 case or less. So the Thermaltake Core V1 is a standard. I've used this case before for my old school living room build that I sold to my friend back in the day when he was trying to get into gaming PC. I was like, man, if you're going to be getting in, let me sell you this computer for a discount just so that you kind of get a feel if you like it. If not, you can sell it back to me and then buy a console. But he stuck with it. He upgraded the darn thing and, he's gone crazy with it at this point. So you can get a $50 case and you can put that into your budget. At this point, when we look at the total cost, let's go ahead and run some numbers because this is going to be very imperative, right? $89.99, which is the CPU cost, $89.99. My motherboard came out to be $85 because I bought a used one here. There was a $70-something one here. I was like, I'm taking advantage of that. So for me, I can eat the risk of a used motherboard, or I could just send it back and get me a new one if I wanted, or buy, maybe not do, mini ITX, basically change my case, change my, motherboard, and I'll still kind of like come out okay. So again, this is something that is somewhat dependent, but I'm going to put my full cost of the motherboard with taxes I bought on Amazon. So that's going to be $85, not $58. It's going to be $85 and change. Let's just call it 86. And so now I got these two. As for my GPU, the choice I will go with in this situation to maximize my $650 is this Zotac, because I'm going to be paying taxes here. B&H did not have a good selection for their 3060s 12 gigs, except the one fan one that they had. And I don't want to buy the one fan one. I would love for one that I can basically run cooling. Maybe that's better. At the end of the day, the B&H one will save you on taxes. So for those of you who may be wondering, if you're using the Paybu, it's straight flat $299. Compared to 300 and whatever after taxes here on Newegg. Or you can eat that tax by getting the Zotac, and so now you're going to be at basically 303, which is actually going to be fine after, depending on where you're getting taxed from. So let's go ahead and add that GPU cost in there, which is going to be about 303. Let's put it at that 303 even after taxes on 279. So we're $478.99. So when we say 650 minus $478, $478.99, we have 171. What's left now is our case, which I showed you, a $50 case minus 50. So we have 121. We got to get a PSU. You can get a $40 PSU. You can get actually a $35 PSU. I saw one here on Newegg, but let's go with the prices and look at tax. So let me give you guys another secret sauce here. B&H, they're not stupid. They will price their items in a way that matches the competitors after taxes and a little bit under that, so that way it's attractive to buy from them. So this $39, even if you find this same power supply for $35 on Newegg, let's just do 500 watt PSU, right? Even if you find that same cost, at the end of the day, when you pay taxes, it's going to eventually match up. Or like now, the same PSU, Thermaltake is $39, but you pay shipping and then you pay taxes. So you're better off just buying from B&H for $39.95. So let's go ahead and subtract $39.95. And then the next thing we need is RAM, and we need, so RAM and storage. We have $81 to blow on those two, and that's where the squeeze comes in a little bit. Keep in mind, we're way under the 1100 mark that we started with the cost that you're going to spend on the extra associated cost, however, right? So let's go ahead and let's kind of like get ourselves, some storage. And so here's what I'm going to do with the storage. You're going to skimp out on your storage. I see a lot of people dying on this hill like, oh, I got NVMe and all that stuff, and it's got to be a fast NVMe because the PlayStation 5 has a fast NVMe. Who cares? Your CPU is already way faster than the PlayStation 5. Your GPU is already way faster than PS5. So you got to take a hit somewhere, because if we have to actually go with those comparisons, then you're not being fair anymore. So it's okay. It's fine to buy storage that's not going to be as fast as the PlayStation 5 storage, and just go for it. There's nothing wrong with it. Most of your games are going to run fine. Here's a $65 storage. If I do the $65 storage, I'm going to only be, limited to 16 gigs of RAM. But it is what it is. 16 gigs of RAM is fine. It'll play you almost any game today. I mean, the max I've seen Hogwarts Legacy eat. What was Hogwarts Legacy eating at the time it came out? It was coming out at like almost 16 gig. Yeah, Hogwarts Legacy is like a RAM-hungry game. So I'm trying to see if we can get some lower storage and then be able to give you 32 gigs of RAM, because you can always buy yourself a $15, HDD hard drive to be able to store files or whatever it is. So you can go with, let's just say 500 gig HDD, just to store stuff for the meantime until, you want to upgrade. You can get a $14 one, brand new, shipped from Newegg themselves, right? You can use to store a few things here and there. It doesn't have to be the most blazing fast thing in the whole wide world. But remember, your CPU and your GPU eats the PS5, can make a video game, by the way, which your PS5 can never do, nor your Series X. And so this is where you're going to have to take this $80 and, you just got to go in there and you got to, kind of make it work. $81.06. Now, because we have a $1,000, leeway, you might just say, you know what? Let me get it over with. Let me get it done now. Let me throw in $100 and now be at $750. You can do that. But like I said, I'm going to stick with the 650, and I'm going to show you guys that basically I'm going to make my sacrifices on this thing. So what do I need? I need 16 gigs of RAM. 16 gigs of RAM. RAM is not as cheap anymore, but it goes on sale a lot. You can spend $40 and buy yourself 32 gigs of RAM some days, right? It's there. It's there. Look at this. This is $56 for 32 gigs of RAM, which is basically, if I go with this is a deal, crucial. Let's look for something generic because I've not seen the difference. Let's do this. Let's do 16 gigs of RAM for now. Team Vulcan, they really come up with some really good deals. So 35, or I can go 31 for this 16 gigs of RAM, but let's do this. 35 after taxes, I'm going to say it comes out to 38, 39. So let's do minus 39. And now I'm sitting on $42 to buy myself memory. Okay, I got to get something fast. So 500 gigs of SSD, 500 NVMe, that should run me and run my games, no problem. And those of you who say, well, you know, you need more space or whatever it is, man, most of you upgraded your PS5, so we can give leeway to actually upgrade that memory later on. I got $38 here for 512 gigs of Team Group, which will probably come out to like 42. So basically, we've maxed out our budget after all is said and done. At $650, I just built you a device that is way better than a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series X. Again, the $500 argument is so silly because, again, this particular PC that I just built you will make you a video game. How do I know? The same build, change GPU, 1080 Ti. That's the build that I was using to first start learning game development. I mean, I had a better CPU in there, but I changed the CPU recently, and that same build can still open Unreal Engine, do everything because CPU, GPU, you know, capability. 1080 Ti has got 11 gigs of VRAM. So again, dial into the details, dial into the reality, dial into what I think is the evidence, and understand what in the world is going on in order for you to be able to make very good decisions. You can take this build that I just put together and you can basically juxtapose it, and you will find somebody who will do it. If you say maybe you want to play a game like Gotham Knights, you could say Ryzen 5 5500 30 60 12 gigabytes Gotham Knights. The algorithm is there to basically, you know, filter everything for you. Look at it. Somebody has a Ryzen 5 5500 and they have a Gotham Knights version. This is from a year ago. So at 1080, what are they doing with Gotham Knights? What is the performance looking like? Look at their frame rates. They're basically doing 66 FPS with a build like this at 1080p. That's their FPS. So they're able to do high FPS 1080p. Console can't do that. I know many people think if you reduce the resolution on console, it's going to basically increase the frame rate. That's not how it works. Frame rate is dependent on frame time. So those of you, let me see. Some of you, I was typing all that and I didn't even show you. I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and put it up here for you guys. There it is. It's on the screen. So here it is. It's doing 52. It was doing 60 FPS just now, but you've gotten to some crowd density. So the frame rate has actually, you know, come down a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's doing better than console will because, you know, console does not have the CPU capability to be able to chew out open worlds as easy as some CPUs would do. At the end of the day, frame time is what you're looking at. So this game is a janky mess for the most part. Highest settings is what this person is using. So it's still doing better than console is. So you see your frame rate here, 56 FPS. The frame time is off at 24. Frame time is what actually guarantees your FPS. It's not resolution. I've seen a lot of people say that, oh, if they would just scale down the resolution, the FPS would go up. That's not how it works. It's a whole different, you know, calculation that needs to be done to be able to see that. 20 minutes. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. Leave your comments in the comment section. Peace out.